In this video, we're going to learn how to teach the breaststroke, armstroke, along with taking a breath. Most students find the breaststroke, armstroke to be a very easy movement to do. A great place to start with the arms is to take your student over to the shallow end and have them practice the arm movement while standing. Have your students extend their arms and use their index finger as the reference point. Then have your students draw a circle in the water to where their index fingers touch near the center of their chest and extend forward again. Then have your students using 2 fingers to make a circle, still using the index finger as a guide. And now just add in the last 2 fingers and voila, your students are now doing the breaststroke, armstroke. Once again, using the index finger as the guide. Now, do your best to encourage your students to keep their elbows away from the sides of their body during the entire stroke. Once your student knows the motion of the arms, then just practice doing it with a float. Don't include the breathing just yet. Just have them practice doing the arms, keeping their elbows away from their body. When first practicing the breaststroke arms while floating, it's a good idea to not have the students kick with their legs. This will help later on when we learn the breaststroke timing, in which they have to use their arms without a kick. And once your students are comfortable performing the breaststroke arms without a breath, next step is to add the breath. Have your students take a breath by exhaling and lifting the head to start. Then have your students perform the sweeping motion of the breaststroke arms, finishing by dropping the head and extending the arms back and front. Let's watch this a few more times. And remember, we don't need to ask our students to kick during this time. They can just focus on combining the breathing and the breaststroke arms. And let's take a look at a few common mistakes people make with the breaststroke, armstroke. The biggest mistake most kids make with the breaststroke arms is not timing the breathing with the armstroke. What they'll do is they'll do an armstroke first, and then at the very end they'll pop their head up to breathe. Just remind your students to pop their head up first, then do a sweeping arm motion, and then drop everything at the very end. And another common mistake is when a swimmer pulls all the way back to their hips to take a breath for the breaststroke. And a similar mistake is when a student swims breaststroke by tucking their elbows into their sides before they finish the stroke. Both of these have a bad habit of the student bringing the elbows further back than they need to be. A good exercise to have your students do would be to practice swimming breaststroke with a noodle or 2 underneath their arms. The noodle will prevent the person's elbows from pulling all the way back. You can do it in an upward fashion like so, or you can have your students do it in a front float position as well. Now, assuming you've already taught the breaststroke kick and you've now just taught the breaststroke arms, the last step is to bring them together so that way your student knows how to swim breaststroke. Good luck.